One thing that you may not know about me is that I'm terrified of animals, but more specifically cats and dogs. I remember when I was like a teenager and I would ask my mom if I can go out. She'd be like, yeah, you can go out, but you have to cross the goat. So they would tie a fucking goat to the end of the driveway, and if I could make it past that goat, I can go out. What they didn't know was I was gonna make my friend get off and use her as a shield so that the goat wouldn't get me. Shout out to my friend Kari, because she would get down, go all the way to my door to get me, and then once we got to the goat, she never anticipated me throwing her towards the goat and running, but it would happen every time and she was fine with it. Anyway, the reason why I'm telling you this is because I heard a story about this Dalmatian dog that scared the fuck out of me. Also, why haven't we seen any Dalmatians lately, or am I the only one? So the guy telling this story says that he is not afraid to give you his full name, the exact location, and what happened, because he wants you to understand that he is not lying and that everything he's about to say is the 100% truth. His name is Suriel Espinosa. This happened in Tizcaltepec, Tlaxcala. This happened in Tizcaltepec, Tlaxcala. So for the past 2 years, he has been working as a security guard at a warehouse where they distribute canned food. He said that while he worked, he would always notice that there were street dogs there, so when they had like extra leftover food, they would always leave it outside for these dogs. So it became a routine for these like street dogs to come every night and he would feed them. But he says that something weird happened. These animals who would return night after night knowing that they were going to be fed, just all of a sudden stopped showing up. So that night they all ate, they had leftovers, they were going to go outside and give it to the dogs, and they saw no dogs out there. So he went about his way, did his work, and he could have sworn that he had heard that bull outside move. So he went out there to take a look and he didn't see any of the dogs. However, there was a new dog. It was a Dalmatian, and when he saw this dog, he was really worried because he explains that the dog looked very malnourished. You could see the bones, like it looked like it had been through hell and back. He started to feel really bad for this dog, and he would touch the dog, it wouldn't bite, it wouldn't like bark, it wouldn't wag its tail, and he was like, you know what, I think I need to take it home, I need to take care of this dog, and that's exactly what he did. So at home, he already had a dog named Luna, and she was a husky. When Luna the husky saw this dog come into the house, she ran outside with her tail between her legs, very much scared. He mentions how there was one time where him and his wife were sitting on the couch with a Dalmatian in front of him, and they started to talk about how the shape of the dog, like the bones, were really weird because they didn't seem like bones of a dog. It was almost human-like. Red flag, bitch, what the fuck? It was kind of in passing, but they both thought that it was really weird. So he also started to notice that he was being awoken in the middle of the night by the sounds of the front door being pushed. Like not somebody turning the knob, but like someone actually trying to push that door open. Then all of a sudden that sound changed. Another night he woke up to the sound that he was terrified of because it sounded like somebody had successfully turned that knob and opened his front door. He thought to himself, no way, no one opened that door, it's my imagination, and he went back to sleep. The next morning when he woke up, he went to the living room and noticed that his front door was wide open. At this point, he's obviously scared, he's obviously worried, he's like, what is going on? And another night comes, he's laying in bed, and he gets awoken again by the sound of that front door opening, like the knob and pushing in. This time he's like, it's not my imagination, someone has come into my house, and he sits up in complete shock and says that he hears somebody talk in the living room, and that somebody says,
finally, I was able to enter.
So now he gets up, he's really worried because he's like, someone just came into the house, his wife is asleep still next to him, and that's when he remembers that he has a machete on the back of the bed, and he grabs it. So again, he grabs the machete and decides that he's gonna go very quietly to the living room and not even alert his wife because he doesn't want to make any sound. So he starts walking towards the living room, and he's like, whatever's there, I'm just gonna attack because I don't know who it is and why they continue to come to my house. Once he finally gets to the end of the hallway where there's a light switch that would light up the entire living room, he says that what he saw continues to terrorize him even now. There in that living room couch was the Dalmatian dog sitting down upright like a human. But what scared him the most was not seeing that dog sitting upright like a human, but when he saw the dog's eyes, it didn't look like the way that he had seen seen them before. He said that they fully looked like human eyes. He felt when his legs like almost gave out on him because of how scared he was. And in that moment, when the Dalmatian finally looked at him, he says that the Dalmatian smiled, like an eerily scary ass smile. Seconds after that smile, he heard the loudest scream coming from behind him, and it was his wife. And that scared him even more. Like, he said that he almost had a heart attack because again, he had left her asleep in the room. So I guess what he was seeing, his wife also saw from behind him, and he had no idea, and she just screamed really loud. He says that his wife not just screamed, but she ran to the phone and called the police. And when the Dalmatian turned to look at his wife, noticing that she picked up the phone to call the police, it started growling at her, and he knew in that moment that the Dalmatian was going to attack his wife. The second he noticed that the dog was about to leap towards his wife, he ran in front and grabbed that Dalmatian. At that point, they had bought a collar for the dog, and he grabbed that Dalmatian by the collar, but he says that this thing was really strong. He also noticed that when his skin touched that Dalmatian's skin also, it was like burning hot. Like, the Dalmatian was really, really hot. He said that the dog managed to throw him against the couch, and then it went on his four legs and just casually walked outside. So by this point, the cops finally made it to his house. He was too embarrassed to tell them that the dog did this, so he lied and said that there was an intruder in the house. The police start checking everywhere and they don't find anyone. However, one of the police officers got really close to him and said, "Hey, can I ask you something? But I just want to make sure this stays between us because I don't want to get in trouble." And of course he was like, "Yeah, sure, what is it?" He's like, "Is the Dalmatian dog that's in the front yours?" And he was like, "Yes, that's my dog." The police again was like, "Please don't tell anybody this, because if you report that I said this, I may lose my job, but I swear on anything that when I got here and passed by your dog, I could have sworn that I heard it laughing." The police was like, "Please be very careful with that dog." After the cops left, obviously that night he could not go to sleep. He obviously locked every door, locked every window, but still couldn't manage to go to sleep. And honestly, same, because how the fuck would I go to sleep after that? When morning came, he went outside, looked at the dog, and the dog was just there like normal, like nothing had happened. The eyes didn't even look like human eyes anymore. It looked like it was the dog again. He literally goes straight to his sister's house. He goes and tells her everything that happened, thinking that she wasn't going to believe him because the story is outrageous. He was surprised that his sister took him seriously and told him, "You need to be very careful. That is not a dog." He stayed very confused, thinking, I was expecting her to be like, "It's nothing, it's not a big deal, go home." But no. Before going to work that day, he went home, he grabbed the dog, leashed it up. He said that he chained it around a tree that they had in the backyard. He mentions that Luna's little dog house was also next to the tree, so that's where he put the dog. So the following day, he goes outside because he's still feeding this dog, even though he's scared. And he said that he gets the bowl, puts the food in there, places it in front of the house, and at this point, the Dalmatian was inside the house. He hadn't seen it like walk around or anything. He does say that he kind of goes down there just to make sure the Dalmatian is in there, and when he does that, he hears like when the Dalmatian makes the kind of noise to him. In that moment, the dog started walking out of that dog house, looks up at him, and he notices those human eyes again. He says that when the dog looked up at him, the dog talked to him and said,
"Hey, why don't you let me into your house? Don't you want to play with me?"